91007.
This is what I'm blasting on my deserted island when I'm stuck. Some Steely Dan, Motley Crue mashups. You know what? I take back all 4 of my catalogs. I just want all DJ Cummerbund music if I'm stuck on an island.
Clever.
Actually.
Be the best of all worlds.
Yeah.
Actually, what?
I'm saying that's actually a good idea.
Are you saying I'm right?
Yeah. I don't have a problem admitting when I'm wrong.
I know. Breaking your balls.
Break them, Alan.
Hey, Clinton.
Hey, hate the show.
Hey, what's up, Clinton? How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Hanging in.
Hey, so I wanted to mention to Mary, it's not the smell. It's not the smell at all, because I was in the Navy for 10 years and I was.
You're talking about the Clinton. Just to reset. You're talking about the empathetic gag reflex when other people vomit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not the smell. Well, maybe it's just that particular smell, because I mean I worked with let's say yish pumps on the ship in the Navy as an electrician for years and years, and we were all up in that. That's completely fine. As soon as I had a kid, the throw up cannot handle it.
Really? I wonder why that is. I never had any problem with any of my kids with the poops and the pukes and
poop doesn't even bother. I would rather clean poop up off the floor than vomit.
Really?
Absolutely.
I feel like let's test this.
Yeah.
Alan, you puke, I'll
Bill,
poop.
take a dump and I'll
I think it's because I personally have such an aversion to throwing up. I hate puking so much that even the thought of it makes me want to puke.
You associate it with you doing it, and then you get freaked out, and then I understand. Whereas
think that's
everybody
more of what mine is.
everybody's pooping every day.
Yeah.
Ideally.
I think for me, it's when somebody throws up in your vicinity, you get hit with not only the smell but the warmth.
Oh,
the warmth. How close to you are they vomiting?
Yeah, he's talking about like his kids. If it happens on the couch next to you,
you're right there.
There was a kid one time.
I just always felt so bad for my kids when they would throw up that everything else kind of went,
They're so pathetic.
Because they don't know.
They can't take care of themselves. And they look terrified. Like, I remember the first time.
They don't do it on purpose. They're just trying to understand, like, the kid standing by the bed at night puking down their shirt. You're like, okay.
Well, like they're so dumbfounded when it happens, like, because all they know is that they don't feel good, and then all of a sudden there's just stuff spewing from their mouth, and they're like, "What?"
My niece is 5, and I think last year was the first time she threw up. And when she was 4, and like when she knew what was happening, and my sister told me, she came into her room and was like, "Mommy, I don't feel good," and they went to the bathroom and she threw up and she was crying and she just kept asking my sister, "What is happening to me? Like, what is this?"
You just pat him on the back and you say, "You're dying."
And my sister was like,
"This is the devil because you're a terrible, terrible child."
Yeah.
No,
remember when you
like,
didn't clean up your room? This is the consequences.
She was like, "This is puke. You know, everybody will puke at some point." And I guess my niece's first question was, "Does Graham puke?" Like, wondering who in her life has also puked. I'm like, "This poor little baby."
Yeah, it's universal. I mean,
it's
I don't know. Okay, thank you, Clinton.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Clinton. No, I think learning to vomit is a very valuable skill, because most people, if they don't do it that often, you tense up, you get, understandably so, especially somebody like Mary, right? You really don't want to do it. You dread the thought of it. But once you kind of learn how to do it and give yourself over to it, see, you're in the rare, Mary, you are in a rare situation of being somebody who drank heavily for a long time and didn't vomit.
It's because
under normal
so much.
That's what I'm saying. Under normal circumstances, you would be a champion puker.
Oh yeah, I would put myself to bed before I'd throw up. And honestly, I'm telling you, if I would have puked, I'd probably still be drinking today because my hangovers wouldn't have been as bad. Refusing to throw up and then just keeping all of that poison in your body is not great.
You're an OG, boy.
See, I like like when I know I've overdone it and I go, oh, it's a puke time.
That's how Brian was. He was like, I'll just make myself puke before I go to bed.
Yes.
I'm like, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Even in a full-blown blackout, I knew, no, I'm not throwing up. There were a couple times where I was way too full of booze, and I remember like taking a shot and then it immediately coming back up where I'm like, I have 15 seconds to find a trash can.
Yep.
But that's something that like you can't even control, where it was just like, oh, no. Either you got too much food in it or too many different mixes or whatever. But even that I can only recall happening like 2 or 3 times in my life.
On the subject of vomiting, cancer.
Oh.
Shannon Doherty just died. You know, she was young. She's 53. And I like that illness didn't soften her. She had been dealing with cancer for a while, for many, many years. She would go into remission, and then she would announce publicly that it had come back. She had breast cancer, I think. And then she got diagnosed again and said that, like, last year, she's like, well, it's in my bones. And that's when, you know, you're counting the days. But I like that illness didn't soften her. She was petty until the end. And I respect that. It's not my vibe, but I respect that. She left a list of people she did not want at her funeral, including some of her former co-stars. Imagine writing that down. Because I think most people would be like, I'm going to be dead. I don't care.
It's not for you.
Don't care who, is going to be there. And I can't imagine, I mean, is that a situation where people are going to, you know, adhere to her wishes? Right. They're going to come up and show their respects, I guess. But if you have that much time to think about it, if you're in and out of chemo and remission, and, you know, a lot of people go through this kind of thing, and some people beat it. Other people like Shannon Doherty don't. But you have a lot of time to consider these things. And I would think for most people, over time, you might soften a little bit. Not her. Jenny Garth and Alyssa Milano were on that list. She did not want them at her funeral. She and Jenny Garth didn't get along when they were doing 90210. And she and Alyssa Milano famously didn't get along when they were making a show called Charmed. Anybody remember Charmed?
I used to watch that all the time. That was on WB. Was
it like a TV version of The Craft? Is that what it was?
But they weren't like evil. They were just like, it's kind of like Desperate Housewives, but witches. Like they were just like trying to live their normal, everyday woman lives.
And it was 3 of them?
Witches. I think so, yeah.
Because she was very close to the other girl, that Holly Marie Combs.
But I think they also might have solved crimes. I think they might
Witches that solved crimes.
I think they might have like used their powers at night to defeat bad guys. I don't really remember. And how did they wasn't Rose McGowan on that show too? Did she replace one of them? Like when Shannon Doherty left,
I think that was the original 3.
Okay. They're the most powerful good witches of all time.
And how did they get their powers?
I think they're born with them.
Yeah, there's
they're
like
sisters.
witch family, yeah.
Oh, they're sisters.
Yeah, the 3 of them are sisters.
I see.
They have to protect innocent lives from evil beings such as demons and warlocks. So that's what it was.
So this was thrust upon them. They didn't utter some incantation and became witches.
So no,
they're
had
born
to
into it.
Keep their supernatural identities separate and secret from just their regular lives.
Which superheroes?
So they were always being investigated by the FBI, so they're also dodging the FBI.
Oh.
They were? They were publicly witches?
Says.
No,
they were not.
They had to keep it secret.
Right, that's what I thought you said, but then why is the FBI investigating them?
Because they're like, there's something strange about these ladies. Oh. I think they're witches. So they got Mulder after them.
I see. Do they have any crossovers between Fox and the WB?
Unfortunately, I don't think they did.
Okay. Well, that's a real bummer. I remember they rebooted Charmed, but I never watched the original. Of course, I didn't watch 90210 either. And that was very much of my generation, I think. But I just didn't identify with any of those people. I didn't care.
We didn't have cable. So
we didn't either.
Our choices well, you had cable when Charmed was out. in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, okay, I did.
So I'm saying, like, growing up, I was just watching whatever was on the WB or PBS. Like, those were my options. Or Fox. Like, we had 3, 5, 8, 19, 23, you know.
Yeah. Okay. What were the other shows in the W? Because there was the UPN, there was the CW, which is still a thing.
Supernatural, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it Smallville?
Those were all the big shows in the WB.
Yeah, those are the WB.
America's Next Top Model.
Was that where
was
that where Shasta McNasty was?
Yes, it was.
Remember Shasta McNasty?
Wow.
Oh, that was on for like a cup of coffee.
I mean, you would have been real young when that was on.
WB and the UPN were the same, or they merged at some point.
Well,
That's like also Seventh Heaven and like
it was
Gilmore
WB
Girls.
and then it was UPN and then they merged and became the CW.
I remember Wayne's Brothers, Sister.
But this was like for millennial teens, right?
Who didn't have cable.
Gotcha.
I mean, I can't stress that enough. Unless people were watching this, even though they did have cable, but I didn't have. I mean,
I watched some of those shows, even though we had
Sabrina
cable.
the Teenage Witch.
Well, that was a TGIF show.
Well, I'm just looking up WB shows.
Maybe it eventually ended up
Reba.
over there.
God, I love Reba.
Reba.
I loved Reba.
Veronica Mars was on UPN, and then there were a whole bunch of other shows on WB. I remember
Pinky and the Brain, Animaniacs.
My girlfriend at the time was.
Oh, yeah, that was all like the Saturday morning or like afternoon cartoons and stuff.
My girlfriend at the time was heavily into Gilmore Girls, so that was all I knew from that. I wasn't watching Smallville or anything like that.
I loved Smallville.
I love Smallville too.
All right. Well, there you go. Anyway, Shannon Doherty made a list of people that she did not want at her funeral. And I don't know if they abided by it, abode by it. I don't know. But she is gone, and she ain't coming back.
Holmes is reflecting on her time with her late Charmed co-star, Shannon Doherty. The actress, who was best known for her roles in Beverly Hills 90210, Charmed, and Heathers, died on July 13th after battling stage 4 breast cancer.
And by the way, Shannon Doherty had quite the reputation, too. I mean, not to speak ill of the dead. I didn't know the woman. I never met her or crossed paths with her. But there were a lot of people that had a hard time with Shannon Doherty. And I don't know if sooner or later you got to go, well, it's probably me. Like, I think she signed her divorce papers or something the day before she died. And it was very contentious. That's the way to do it. Her divorce was finalized one day before she died.
Damn.
She's married to a guy named Kurt Iswarenko. He was probably...
He's getting nothing.
He was probably... He might have been a producer or something. I don't know. He might have had his own thing going on. But she did not want him taking over her multi-million-dollar fortune. And I don't think she had any children. So they wanted her friends and legal representation wanted her to die as a divorced woman.
Good.
And so they got it. She had a very famous female attorney in L.A. named Laura Wasser. They're actually making a show about this group of Hollywood female attorneys, and they have people playing these women. And Kim Kardashian, I read, is going to play Laura Wasser. And that's very exciting for probably the real lady. And, but anyway, I don't know that I would, because I'm not going to have a funeral when I die. So anybody can do anything they want to do. I wouldn't have a list of people I didn't want around. I guess it's whoever's still around. Whoever remains in my orbit can be there. I mean, aside from my children, I have to think that there might be a couple of my peers who would be there. But I'm not going to be put in the ground or anything like that.
If I outlive you, I'll be there.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, thanks.
I have a show that night. I'm busy.
You don't even know what it is.
Wow. She's pre-planning.
I'm sorry. I'm just really so.
You don't want to spit on his grave with me?
He didn't say he was going to be there to pay his respects.
Put an entire bagel in the casket with him.
This is why I'm not going to be buried. I don't need anybody messing any abuse of a corpse situations around me. I don't need any spat upon graves.
Alan, an entire bagel is not abuse.
No, I mean, you guys spitting on my grave. Hock Tua in eternity. Nobody wants that. Go ahead and put a full bagel in there with me. And I don't mean a full half. I mean a full
bagel.
Unsliced bagel.
We can take some from the break room that have been in the
fridge for a month.
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Well, they brought in all this like barbecue or something yesterday, so this whole place smelled like an abattoir. And then it was just like people are lined up to chow down.
Hey, barbecue's nice.
It's great.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. But by the time
I got here, I was like, I'm going to pass.
Right.
But
Yeah. Well, anyway. Anytime
because they brought
food
that in. That's what I always remind myself. Like, they brought this in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't bring it in at noon. It's been there since 6 or 7
No,
a.m.
they did bring it in at noon.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they brought it in for lunch.
It got ripped through then.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Because I was in there, I was getting some water when the lady was setting it up.
Mm.
I was like, wow, they got you laying this whole thing out. She's like, that's what we do. I said, okay. I don't know who called for it. I don't know who set it up, but they did it around noon.
They've been doing a ton of food drops lately.
I guess. We never got this many out at Oak Tree when there were actually a ton of people working there.
Hey, it all got eaten, didn't it?
It really did.
But nobody was using the bun, so there's like a whole bunch of buns and then like a gallon of potato salad that was left out all day.
People were just loading up pulled pork on their plate.
Mm-hmm.
And, by the way,
saving them carbs.
On July 23rd, here at iHeart Cleveland, we're full into the middle of fly season. So that's fun, too.
They're back,
fun.
baby.
They're back. Just when you thought you were safe.
We're almost to 2 years being down here, right?
Yep. Yeah. August something
is
our 2-year anniversary. August 16th, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's around then.
Flies here. They have like a full-time cleaning crew here that's always doing something.
I mean, we have cleaning crews here, but
they're not in there all day long. Like the people are just, it seems like they're only on maybe every floor, but they're here all the time. There's like 4 or 5 people that I see constantly. But there was like a full week where the people kept dumping food down the drain of the sink, and there's no garbage disposal. Yeah. So it got all backed up and started to like overflow, and it smelled absolutely horrendous for like a full week before they could get people in here to figure it out.
Wow. Alan, I watch Charmed reruns on TNT. I mean, you can probably stream it somewhere, too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mike in Parma suggests that each person who attend my funeral get a Mountain Dew pony can full of my ashes. Nothing like that. There won't be any, no one will be told. Only a select few people will be told. A, when I'm dead. So everybody else is going to be left guessing. And 2, where I am dead.
Not where you died, where you are dead.
Yeah. Well, isn't that what cemeteries are? That's where people are dead.
Or a mausoleum.
Yeah, a mausoleum too.
Or your, I don't know, mom's house.
I want to be left in the trunk of a car and just to slowly degrade from there.
I love the person's like, I want my remains scattered across Disneyland. I don't want to be cremated.
Please put the cart before the horse. Standing in line and there's a foot. That's small world after all.
Right.
I'm going to break. I will have one more chance today for you to grab $1,000. 5:30 is when you'll get that last keyword today to grab the money from a Buzzard bookie if you want to go see the band The Ghost Inside. 2 hours to midnight presenting this show. And WMMS. The Agora in December, bringing a bunch of great metal bands with them. So we'll do that coming back.
It's the Alan Cox Show.